Alright guys, so on Friday you received your clay, and when you've wedged it, it's about the size of a softball. Today we're going to re-wedge our clay, and we're going to create the body and the head of our gargoyle. The amount of clay that you're going to need for this depends on your design, but I'm just going to start by splitting my clay in half and setting half of my clay aside for later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first re-wedge our clay. Over the weekend, your clay absorbed a little bit of air, so you always need to re-wedge it and squeeze those air bubbles out. Now for my body, I'm going to create a pinch pot, and you guys should already know how to do that. So what I'm going to do from my clay that I have right here is I'm just going to take like a ping pong ball size out of my clay, out of that half that I separated, and set that aside. And then with my other clay that I have, I'm going to create a pinch pot. Now when we're creating a pinch pot, we need to make sure that the sides, or the pinch pot itself, is 1/2 to 3/4 inch thick all the way around. So remember, you're just putting your thumb in and you're pinching around that. You don't want your walls of the pinch pot to be flimsy or too thin. You want them to be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick all the way around. And you don't want any cracks on the top side or the base of your pinch pot. So this is the base. I want to make sure that there aren't any cracks, and what I can do for that is I can just push it down onto my plastic or my surface that I'm working on and kind of get a more solid base. And then I also want to make sure that there aren't any cracks along the top, and I can smooth the clay, and hopefully your clay is still a little bit wet. So this is my pinch pot body. And the body is what we're going to build upon, adding our arms, our legs, our wings, but for right now it's just a pinch pot. So now that I have that, I'm going to take my smaller ball of clay and I'm going to roll it into a ball. This is going to be the head, and it's a solid mass of clay. When you're attaching clay to clay, it's really important that air can filter through in between the two parts of clay, otherwise they will explode. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to score the surface that you're attaching. So I'm going to be attaching my head here. I'm going to score this clay. And there are tools in your caddy that you can do this. Scoring is just roughing up the surface and giving it texture. And then I'm also going to score the area of the clay that I'm going to be attaching. And I'm just doing a series of cross-hatching. And then what I'm going to do is fuse them together. Now typically with dry clay, you would need slip, which is a combination of water and clay. But your clay is really, really moist. What you should be able to do is simply stack these two scored pieces together, and then with your finger, smooth the clay over on all 4 sides to fuse these two pieces together. Because the head is a solid mass of clay, you are going to have to do one final step to ensure that your head does not explode off of the body while it's in the kiln. That final step includes getting a toothpick and lifting up the pinch pot and poking a hole through the base of the pinch pot so that it pokes through the head that you just fused onto, and you're creating an air passageway. So I've poked a ton of holes. It's going through the base. It's not poking outside of the clay form. It's just creating air passageways between my two areas of clay, and then it won't explode. From there, guys, I can create facial features. Now I find that my thumbs are great at developing facial features. I can push in to indent eye sockets. I can also push up the clay if I want to create a mouth. Then from there, I can form if I want to create a beak or a more open mouth. I can pinch the clay with my fingers because our gargoyle needs to have an open mouth. Once I create the features of my face, eye sockets, an open mouth, then I can get pieces of clay and roll them up into details to put inside the eyes, like this. And remember, anything I add to the clay, I need to use the score and slip technique. All right?